before I answer any questions, actually I have the advantage of looking at the list of questions submitted by the universities, and I found that most of them are very similar. So before I open up the 2 rounds of questions, I will try to say something to summarize the answers to the questions that you have answered. In case that I have not touched on the points that you have asked, you may ask your questions in your individual round. So first, we wish to iterate that through this one-off exercise, we aim to support research projects related to COVID-19 and NID in any facets and discipline. It is not limited to medicine and biology. Research in other areas such as business, social science, humanities, creative arts, and so on are all welcome. Through this research, we seek to understand more on the epidemiological behavior on the virus, as well as the social, economic, environmental, and other impact brought forward by the epidemic. As long as the research in COVID-19 and NID related, we do not set any limitation on the research topics. Now, you may have noted that the Food and Health Bureau have actually allocated over $100 million on clinical studies related to the COVID-19. In fact, we are not, the effort that we have, the money that we have allocated here do not contradict with what they have allocated. As long as you apply and do not get duplicate funding from the RGC as well as from the Food and Health Bureau, you are welcome to submit proposals to both agencies. Secondly, I think there were some questions raised whether we are looking at specific projects in, for example, business, economics, and so on. We are looking at projects across the board. You may be looking at projects like related to psychology, related to economics. They may not be something that related entirely to COVID-19 at this point, because we don't know by December 2020 what is going to happen. Would COVID-19 still be continuing on, or it would die down? We have no idea. But this money is actually allocated for us to study COVID-19 as well as novel infectious diseases. We want to prepare for the future. We are not looking at immediately the issues related to COVID-19, but also other issues related to, for example, the social aspects, social distancing, humanities, creative arts. Those are all things, all aspects of life that are touched upon by this epidemic. And we also want to prepare ourselves for any novel infectious diseases that may happen in the future. Hopefully that would not happen, but we need to prepare ourselves for the worst case that happened. So I think that the answer to answer your question, there would not be any weight related to the CRF application. We are not looking in particular to study virus, vaccines, or pandemic environments, or technological methods to prevent such things from happening in the future. We are looking at research across the board on any area supported by the RGC, as long as it is related to COVID-19 and novel infectious diseases. Secondly, I think that there were also questions related to project durations. Now, the project durations on this one-off CRF is very similar to the normal CRF projects, namely completion within 3 years, except for applications for which the research objectives can be achieved in a time span of 4 to 5 years. But those are exceptional cases, meaning that you should plan on submitting a proposal that would complete in 3 years. It is already a reasonable time frame to complete the project. Now, if you wish to submit a project of longer duration, you should consider submitting that to the TRS, because that can run for as long as 5 years. The funding allocation for CRF projects ranges from $2 million to $10 million, with an average of about $6 million normally. So this is based on the experience that we had in the past on CRF, but by no means we are limiting yourself to only submit projects of $6 million. You can submit between $2 million to $10 million. If you go much above $10 million, then you may consider submitting that to the TRS. So if projects are meritorious and justified, it may be able to get more funding within the $10 million ceiling. For larger scale projects, applicants may consider applying through the theme-based research scheme. In the project administration, this is the way that the project will be administered will be very similar to the normal CRF projects. However, there is a requirement that if you have already submitted a proposal to the normal CRF exercise, then you are not allowed to submit another project in this round. That is, any PI can only submit one project in a CRF exercise, whether it is the normal CRF or it is a CRF related to COVID-19. However, if you are acting as a co-I, you may actually work with as many projects as you want, whether it is a normal CRF or the CRF related to COVID-19. Also, the CRF project grant should primarily be used in undertaking research work in Hong Kong by the project coordinators and the teams. Now, of course, you may ask, there was a question raised whether you would be able to use the money elsewhere other than Hong Kong. It is legitimate for PCs to subcontract only a small part of the research work, regardless of geographical locations, only if the specific conditions are fulfilled. And those conditions are listed on the RGC website. So if you, and this is only approved on a case-by-case basis. If you want to have more details, you can refer to the explanatory notes on the one-off exercise of the RGC website, which is Part 2, Item 4, on cost and justification and disbursement, accounting, and monitoring arrangements. So that's so much I want to say at this point regarding to the CRF. So let me open up for questions at this point to the different universities. So the first one is